what if everything you thought you knew about success, about inspiring people, about building something that really lasts, what if it was actually backwards? It sounds a bit out there, right? But that's really the core question Simon Sinek asks in his, well, phenomenal 2009 book, Start With Why: How Great Leaders Inspire Everyone to Take Action. This book, I mean, it really took off after Sinek's TED Talk went viral, and it completely flips the script on, conventional wisdom, the main argument. It's actually pretty simple, but wow, is it impactful. The most successful leaders, the best organizations, they don't start with what they do or even how. No, they start with their core purpose, their fundamental belief, their why. Because, as Sinek puts it, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And just a quick note before we really get into it, you're experiencing a unique two-host AI conversation powered by Google's NotebookLM for deeper, more dynamic book summaries. So Sinek sets this all up by contrasting this really powerful, inspirational way of thinking with what he calls commodity thinking. That's where businesses often get kind of stuck in a trap of manipulation. It's a world where honestly, many struggle to stand out. And this book, well, it aims to show us a different path, a way out of that problem.
It's such a critical difference he highlights. Sinek basically says most businesses today, they're operating on manipulation. Not, genuine inspiration. Just think about it from your own experience. How many times have you felt like a company was just trying to, win you over with some short-term gimmick? He calls these the carrots and sticks.
Yeah.
And these manipulations, they're everywhere. Pricing games like buy one, get one free, massive sales. Then there are promotional offers that sound almost too good. You've also got fear-based marketing, buy this or else, or aspirational stuff, painting this picture of the perfect life you'll have if you buy their product. Peer pressure, too, making you feel left out. And, of course, the constant drumbeat of novelty. Always something new, something shiny, just to grab your attention for a second. But the downside, and the book makes this really clear, is that, maybe you get a quick sales boost. But it creates these, destructive cycles. Businesses get stuck. They feel like they have to keep offering bigger deals, more features, just to stay in the game. And it really eats away at long-term profit and, crucially, customer loyalty. Because that relationship is just built on the deal, not on anything real.
That is the big question, isn't it? Why do companies fall into that trap, even when they kind of know it's not sustainable? And that's where, for me, Sinek's analogy about the car factories, American versus Japanese, really lands. He describes how, in some American plants back in the day, if a car door didn't quite fit, workers would just grab a rubber mallet and bang, force it shut.
Right, just fix the symptom.
Exactly. Whereas the Japanese manufacturers, they focused on engineering the door to fit perfectly right from the start. Address the root cause. It's such a clear metaphor. Are you constantly whacking things into place after the fact, or are you designing it right from the beginning? And that's the difference Sinek draws between manipulators focused on the quick fix, the external pressure, and those inspirational leaders who start with purpose, with that why. Success then just flows more naturally from that solid foundation. Sounds simple, but...
It sounds simple, but it's profound. And it leads us right into Sinek's solution. The golden circle. Picture it like a target, okay? 3 rings. Dead center, the bullseye, that's the why. The next ring out is the how. And the outermost ring, that's the what. So let's break that down. The why, that's your purpose, your core belief. The reason you exist beyond just making money. It's the motivation. The how, these are your values, your guiding principles, the specific actions or processes that make you different. How you actually do what you do in a unique way. And the what, that's the easy part. It's the tangible stuff. Your products, your services, the results you deliver. Now, here's the kicker. Sinek observed that most companies talk from the outside in. They lead with what we do, maybe explain how we do it, and the why. Often it's fuzzy, or maybe never even mentioned. But the great ones, the truly inspiring leaders and organizations, they flip it. They communicate from the inside out. Start with why, then how, then what. And that belief, that purpose, that's what connects.
And the classic example, the one everyone knows from the book, is Apple. Just think about their early marketing message. It wasn't, hey, we make great computers, look how nice they are. No, they started with their why. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. That was the core message. Then they got to the how. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. And only then did they arrive at the what. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? See? Inside out. It creates this almost tribal connection with people who share that belief in challenging norms.
And what's so powerful, really compelling, is that Sinek argues this isn't just some clever business theory. It's actually rooted in our biology. The golden circle maps pretty neatly onto the structure of the human brain. Think about it. The neocortex, the outer, newer part of our brain. That's our rational, analytical brain. It handles language. That corresponds to the what. But the limbic system, those middle sections, that's where our feelings come from. Trust, loyalty, emotion, and crucially, it's responsible for all human behavior and decision-making. And that part aligns with the why and the how. So this biological link, it explains why just throwing facts and figures, all the what stuff, often doesn't really move people. Our decisions, especially about loyalty and trust, they come from that deeper emotional limbic brain. When companies start with why, they're literally talking directly to the part of our brain that drives behavior. They tap into our fundamental need to belong, to connect with others who see the world like we do. It's powerful stuff.
Wow. So understanding that, understanding how our brains work and communicating from that why first, it actually changes how confident we feel in our decisions. Sinek talks about 3 levels of confidence. If you're just using rational data, the best you can really say is, okay, I think this is the right decision based on the numbers. If it's more of a gut feeling, maybe even against the data, you might say, this just feels right. That's the limbic brain chiming in. But when leaders truly get their why and they can articulate it, they combine that emotional certainty, that gut feeling, with the rational explanation. And that's when they can say, with total conviction, I know this is right. And having that clarity, that deep knowing, it means organizations can focus on attracting people who genuinely believe what they believe, not just trying to sell to anyone who might need their product. It becomes about finding your tribe, your believers, not just customers. And this idea, attracting believers, it seems to build something more than just sales, right? It builds trust and flexibility.
Well, absolutely. Massive flexibility. Think about companies stuck defining themselves by their what. Like Dell, for instance. They make computers. That's their box. So they end up competing mostly on price, maybe features. It's hard to break out. But compare that to a why-driven company like Apple again. Their why, challenging the status quo, empowering individuals, wasn't tied to computers specifically. So they could move from computers to music players to phones to tablets, even watches. And it all felt consistent, because each product was just another way to express their core belief. That why gave them incredible market flexibility. And the book just demolishes the standard idea of first mover advantage with that MP3 player example. Creative Labs, they had a technically better player out before the iPod, but how did they market it? A 5GB MP3 player. You're what? Apple comes along, same basic tech, but markets it as 1,000 songs in your pocket. They sold the benefit, the empowerment, the why. And, well, we know how that story ended. Creative got crushed.
Right. The why just resonated so much more. And speaking of resonating, Sinek then connects this to how ideas actually spread, how they catch on. He talks about reaching a tipping point, doesn't he? How does that work?
Yes, fascinating. He brings in Everett Rogers' work on the law of diffusion of innovations. You've probably seen that bell curve diagram. It shows how different groups adopt new ideas over time. You start with the innovators, maybe number 2.5%. They love new stuff just because it's new. Then come the early adopters, about number 13.5%. They see the potential, the vision. They're driven by intuition. After them, you get the early majority. Then the late majority, the big chunk in the middle, and finally the laggards, who only jump on board when they absolutely have to. Sinek's point is crucial. You can't effectively market to the middle of the curve, the majority, right away. You have to win over the left side first, those innovators and early adopters. Why? Because they are the ones who buy into the why, the belief, the possibility, get them excited, make them believers, and they become your advocates. They're the ones who tell their friends and create the momentum to cross the chasm to the majority. Trying to convince the skeptics first, it's usually pointless.
Find your believers first. Makes sense. So if the why helps ideas spread through these believers, what about the leaders themselves? The ones articulating the why? Sinek makes a distinction there too, right? Between just energy and real charisma.
He does, and it's really insightful. He contrasts, say, raw energy, someone may be shouting, jumping around on stage, getting people hyped up temporarily, with true lasting charisma, that high energy. Sinek argues it's often visible, maybe even copyable, but the effect fades quickly. Think maybe Steve Ballmer back in the day, tons of energy, but was it lasting inspiration? Charisma, on the other hand, Sinek says, comes directly from clarity of why. It's a quiet confidence, an unwavering belief that draws people in. He uses Bill Gates as an example, not exactly known for flashy presentations, kind of shy even, but his clarity of purpose, his vision for software empowering everyone, that gave him undeniable, enduring charisma. People follow the vision, not just the energy.
And often, those charismatic leaders, the visionaries, they need someone else alongside them, right? That's another key point, the idea of why types and how types. Sinek describes why types as the dreamers, the optimists, looking to the future, seeing what could be. They articulate the vision, the purpose. But then you need the how types. These are the pragmatists, the realists. They're brilliant at building the structures, the systems, the processes to actually make that vision happen. They figure out how to get there. And the book is really clear on this. Why types absolutely need how types. Without them, they're just starving visionaries, full of amazing ideas, but nothing ever gets built. It's that partnership that creates real impact.
It's a critical partnership. But how do they actually communicate that why? Because you said earlier, the why lives in the part of the brain that doesn't handle language directly. So words alone aren't always enough.
Exactly. Since the why connects on that emotional limbic level, leaders can't just rely on speeches or mission statements full of jargon. They need to use symbols, metaphors, stories, things that create a feeling and identity.
And the products or services themselves become incredibly powerful symbols of that why. The book uses Harley-Davidson as a great example. Yes, they sell motorcycles, that's the what's. But the Harley logo is way more than just branding. For the riders, it's a symbol of freedom, rebellion, individuality, community. All those things tied into the Harley why. People tattoo it on themselves. It connects them to the belief far beyond just the machine itself.
That's powerful symbolism. And to help keep everything aligned with that cool belief, Sinek offers a really practical tool. It's called the celery test. I love this one. Imagine you go to the supermarket and your why is, let's say, to live a healthy lifestyle. Okay, now you walk down the aisle and see cookies, Nutella, celery, and maybe some fruit, ice cream. If your why is truly health, the celery test says the only things you should buy are the celery and the fruit. They align, the cookies, the Nutella, the ice cream. Nope, they failed the test. Doesn't matter if they're on sale or someone recommended them. It's a simple metaphor for filtering decisions. Does this new product idea, this marketing campaign, this potential hire, does it align with our core why? If yes, great. If no, don't waste resources on it, no matter how tempting it seems. It helps maintain that crucial consistency. We hope this deep dive is inspiring some reflection and maybe some rational thought for you. For more unique book analyses like this one, do check out Mindful Moments. That's our YouTube channel.
That consistency is absolutely key because the book also explores what happens when that why starts to get, well, fuzzy, when organizations lose sight of it. And the consequences can be pretty severe. Sinek uses Volkswagen as a cautionary tale. Their name literally means people's car. Their why was rooted in providing reliable, accessible cars for everyone. But then they decided to launch the Phaeton, this super high-end $70,000 luxury sedan. It completely contradicted their core why. And guess what? It was a massive flop commercially. They lost the plot, lost their why. Or think about Walmart. The book describes how, after Sam Walton passed away, the original why, which was about helping people in communities save money so they could live better, started to erode. It slowly shifted to just being about low prices, period. Just the tactic. And that shift, losing the people in communities part, led to some negative consequences, becoming known as more cutthroat, damaging relationships, hurting their reputation. It shows how easily a why can drift if you're not vigilant.
It's a stark warning, and it highlights something else the book makes clear. Actually finding your why, that isn't the hardest part. Sinek insists that why isn't something you invent or brainstorm based on market trends. It's a process of discovery. You look inwards, back to the origins, the founding passion. It's already there. The real challenge, the harder part, is first articulating it clearly and then, crucially, having the discipline to stay true to it, day in, day out, despite all the pressures to compromise or chase short-term gains. That's the real test.
And staying true to it also changes how you view competition. Sinek offers this really interesting perspective. He says, when organizations are only focused on beating their competitors, nobody really wants to help them succeed. It fosters an us versus them mentality. But if an organization's main competition is itself always striving to be better today than it was yesterday, constantly improving based on its own why, then something shifts. Others, even competitors sometimes, are more inclined to support them, to collaborate. Because about contribution, about improvement, about leaving things better than you found them, rather than just winning against someone else. It's a much more positive, sustainable approach.
So wrapping this all up, the enduring power of why really comes down to clarity. Every organization, maybe every person, starts with some kind of why, that initial spark, that reason for being. But as Sinek shows, only the truly exceptional ones manage to hold on to that clarity over the long haul, to protect it. Those that lose it, they become reactive. They fall back into competing solely on what? On price, features, the endless cycle of manipulation. Simon Sinek's Start With Why just offers such a profound shift in perspective. It's relevant for any leader, any business, really anyone who wants to inspire action and build something meaningful and lasting. It all comes back to purpose.
Absolutely. We really hope this summary has sparked some fresh thinking for you. For more insights and analyses like this, remember you can always explore Mindful Moments and, of course, find more from us here.
So, the question to leave you with is, what's your why? And maybe more importantly, are you truly living it every day? Ready for an even deeper dive into these ideas? Click the link on screen for the in-depth book critique. And please subscribe to our channel, share this valuable insight with someone who you think needs to hear it. If you're inspired, you can also purchase the book using the link provided. Most importantly, keep thinking rationally and keep seeking your why.